Hello and welcome to the Tell Not Show. I'm Kirsha Fox, author of the Deception and Justice series. I'm a homeschooling mom to four, reader, and gamer. Tonight's guest is international best-selling author and award-winning paranormal and contemporary romance author T.K. Lawyer. She has been writing since high school. Steamy, unique, fun tales of adventure with alpha males and feisty, curvy females are her signature, but no two books are alike, and each one is a standalone novel. So, welcome, TK. Can you tell us a little bit about your writing journey? What got you started, and how's it going?
I started my writing journey actually, I want to say it's almost been 11 years since I've been published. And so I started maybe 13 years ago because I wrote my first book 2 years before it got published. And the whole reason I started it was that I was not happy in my current job. So I work a full-time, a day job for money. So that supports my writing career. And at the time I felt like I was going nowhere. I was just stuck in a dead-end job, and I hate that. So, I'm always one wanting to learn and grow and just, just feel like I'm going somewhere with my life. And so at the time I felt like I was really stuck and I wasn't going anywhere, and I couldn't see myself doing the same thing for another 30 years. And so I got really, really upset with the universe. I just got really mad one day and I started yelling in my kitchen. And I tell everybody this story. It's funny because I was yelling in my kitchen and I was upset, and I said, "You got to give me something else. I feel the passion draining out of me." And it's really weird. The day after that, and like it would happen while I'm in the shower, while I'm driving, while I'm sleeping or trying to sleep. I mean, I would get all these ideas. All these ideas started coming to me, and I never really considered like writing. You see what I'm saying? Because I didn't consider it a career. But I said, well, why not? I had a friend at the time who was my boss, and she wrote a book, and she encouraged me to try something new, do something different. And I always feel like if you want to do something different with your life and you just want to head in a different direction, just do it, because what's the harm? So as long as you're not hurting anyone, you'll know if it's meant for you or not. So that's how I started. But I am in the middle actually of the Brigade series. It's a trucking company series with shapeshifters, and I'm writing my second book, which I'm having a lot of fun with it once I'm in it.
So it took you a few years to get that first book out. That seems good. But you have put out, 33 titles or so in 13 years? That's amazing. How did you ever manage that?
I lost track of the number. I don't know. I guess it's around 30. I was part of some anthologies, and then, I think that also helped to get my name out there. I started with the Guardian League series, with my angels, and then I started writing shapeshifters, and I kind of just bounced between them because I really like paranormal romance. So I just get ideas and I just got to run with it. Like the Brigade is a new idea for me with truck drivers that are shapeshifters, and I just thought, why not? I mean, my husband was a truck driver, so I used some of his knowledge in my books. And I just thought, wouldn't it be really interesting if you have a trucking company that literally hires shapeshifters? And so that's what the Brigade does.
Yeah, what a wonderful resource to have your husband's experience to pull on, and someone you can run it past of, like, is that a thing? So that way when people read it, it feels authentic. Yes.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. All right. So so you got started writing and just didn't stop, huh? You just dove in head first and kept going. I think that's really good advice for people of just do it. Just do it.
Right.
When you have a dream, go for it. So the genres you write are romance and paranormal and shifters and all kinds of fun things. What draws you to those genres?
I have always been interested in the strange and unusual and things that go bump in the night and, very spiritual. So I believe in anything's possible. I really do. I believe in other realms. And I just figured, why don't I just write what I know and, what I'm drawn to. So that's why I started writing paranormal. I write contemporary romance too when a unique story strikes me. I don't want to write your run of the mill anything really. So my stories are always a little bit quirky. They have curvy women in them. They usually have possessive alpha males because I like the alpha male. But when I think of a really interesting story, and then maybe I'll put a twist to it because I always like to see what will happen with my characters when I put them in a strange situation. So, and I think it's entertaining too for my readers when I do that.
Mhm. Yes, people love having their expectations both like catered to, but also defied.
Yeah.
So, is there anything about your characters do you feel like sets them apart from anybody else's alpha males with sorry, I can't say alpha males with curvy women? Like what makes yours different?
Well, with my angels, they're not your, I don't want to say run of the mill angels. That just doesn't sound right. But a lot of angel paranormal romances have like a lot of intertwined worlds, a lot of extra characters, a lot of just, it's like complicated. It's crazy. I want to write fun, simple books. So my Guardian League series, Wingtopia, they are fun, sweet stories that are steamy. I mean, because I have open door scenes, but and they have like the possessive but also protective and loving side because you want to see that with any kind of alpha male. So those are like my angels. And my shapeshifters, I like to write like weird shapeshifters. So I have butterfly shapeshifters, I have porcupines, skunks, squirrels. I have all kind, anything crazy. I just like to put a twist on it, but they're real too because they're like real people in the stories. They have like real troubles, real world problems, and and my curvy women, they're genuine. I like to write genuine women. Like these do have issues. They're not all happy all the time with like the pink
Mhm.
colored glasses because that's not how reality is. But there's like a fun adventure. So I always want to give like an adventure to my readers.
What I'm hearing is that your characters are relatable.
Right.
Would you describe them as like fluffy adventures then?
They are lighthearted for the most part. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, some of my paranormal, I do go. One of them, I went really dark. It was my Hellhound romance. I did get blasted for that story. But if you know me, I have a happily ever after in every story. And the Hellhound romance kind of you have to keep going. So it doesn't end very well, but you keep going. And then there's the HAs and the next story.
Mhm.
So, I like to play with different ideas. So, and, I have one angel who's at a passion party. I mean, who would think of something like that? Me, because, I heard it on the radio one day and I went, oh my God, that would be so interesting if this angel ended up at a passion party and didn't know what it was. So,
Yes. Uh, the poor cinnamon roll. Just yeah, ends up in a situation they're not prepared for sure. Can you tell me a little bit about your writing process? How do you go from idea to finished draft?
well, I'm what they call a pantser. I'm
Mhm.
kind of a plantser because I'm not a plotter. I'm definitely not a plotter. I
Mhm.
tried an outline, it didn't work. My characters are like, we're not having any part of this, and they went their own way.
Yes.
And I was like trying to catch up with them. So now I kind of have an idea. I'll have an idea for a book in my head. Like I'll have like, okay, maybe the first couple of scenes, I know what it's going to be about, the
Mhm.
general, who the main characters are. And I'll just kind of write, I have to sit down. sometimes I got to force myself to sit down because working a full-time job, I'm so tired afterwards. And so I'll just sit down and it just suddenly comes to me. And then I just start writing. Like I'll start thinking of a scene, but it's been crazy sometimes because like my current book, I have this scene. I was telling my husband about it and he was laughing because I said, I'm going to write this scene. This is what I'm going to do with my current book. And so I knew exactly what I was going to do. And they just literally went their own way. And it ended up being crazy. It was so weird. I said, oh my God, I can't believe this just happened. But you know what? It's fun. It's funny. And hey, it works. So why not?
Absolutely. You just roll with it. And yeah, absolutely. Even if you're a plotter, I'm a bit more on the plotting side myself. If I try to make my characters do something they don't want to do, they are not doing it. And I will get writer's block until I let them have their way.
Right.
They're
Yeah.
just not doing it. They're going to cross their arms and be like, no.
Exactly.
Want no part of this. Absolutely. Yeah. It's funny sometimes that we're like channeling these real people rather than things that are just made up in our heads, right? For me, at least, my characters feel very, very real.
Yes. Yeah. Mine do.
So for you, what's the most important part of writing?
Just getting a fun story, something like you said, like, readers can relate to the characters. They can actually see themselves immersed in the book. I love that when I'm writing scenes and I actually see it. Because like if I could see the scene in my head and I'm writing it and it's very vivid to me, I know it's going to come across to the readers that way. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to write a book where you can just get lost in it and just have fun while you're reading the book.
Yes. Creating an enjoyable book. That's perfect. That's a very, very important part of writing. Sometimes I feel like people might get too philosophical about what makes good writing or not. But I think it comes down to, is this a story that people are going to enjoy? Does this serve a purpose? Does it make them feel? Writing is just another art. Right. And, there's some art that evokes emotion and there's others that you just look at and go, oh, okay, keep moving.
Yeah.
We all have our own like things that we're looking for in a story. But I think just having the goal of creating something that people will enjoy, that's a wonderful goal to have.
Yeah.
So I love that.
My all-time favorite author is Dean Koontz. I love Dean Koontz from a very young girl. My dad had some Dean Koontz books. I read one that he had at the very beginning, and I just love his writing style because you just get immersed in it. But you get immersed in it sometimes so much, it's hard to take yourself out. Because I know when I was reading the Frankenstein novels, I think there's like 3 of them, I can't remember. I read the first one, and boy, that was really dark. He went really dark in that book, but it was so good. But I remember like actually having to take half an hour or more to I had put the book down. I had to actually just do something different because you get so immersed. And that's what I love about his writing. And that's what I want to impart to my readers, to ones who pick up my book. I want to have that kind of, like he has that following. That's what I want for my readers, to be able to see themselves in the scenes.
Yes, to create a world and characters that feels so real and puts you directly in their shoes, puts you directly in the story. You have to look up and blink and go, wait, what's real?
I know, because you feel all the emotions. Right. Yeah.
Yes. That moment when you forget you're reading because you're just so into the story. You just see the pictures in your head. It just comes to you. That's wonderful. Yeah. I actually haven't read any Dean Koontz myself. Horror and scary stuff is not really my usual genres, but I do know what you're talking about. Those authors who just suck you in and you're not free until you finish the book.
Yeah.
So in your own writing, do you typically begin with characters or plot? Like plot ideas?
That's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
I think I usually will think of a plot first, And, it needs to be something good and something that interests me for me to write it. And then I'll start thinking of the characters.
Okay. What's something that you learned from the writing process? Something you didn't know starting out in 2011 when you sat down to write your first book?
Well, I didn't know that, editing sucks. And I hate editing. I hate it. And I try to do self edits before it ever gets to the editor's hands because I want it to be as nice, polished as
Yes.
good as
It's
possible.
like
Yeah.
cleaning your house before the house cleaners come over.
Right. Yeah. I don't want to give her something that really, really just reeks. And I didn't know how much marketing and advertising one had to do. It's like you don't really get that much time to write. You are mostly out there doing book events. You're just on social media. You're always in the presence, always in the limelight trying to be, because you want to get known. So it's a lot of work.
It is so much work.
Yeah.
It really is. I sure hope the show helps authors get more and get more readers for sure. I'm really enjoying talking to you though. Like I keep finding myself nodding of like, yes, that's absolutely true. That's exactly how it is. Like,
Yeah.
oh gosh, the marketing and the editing and all of these things that you didn't know starting out because like unless you talked to an author beforehand, like
Right.
and even then the industry changed.
Yeah.
It used to be that traditional publishing was pretty much the only way that you could really go unless you wanted to be like really go deep, like a
Right.
deep plunge. You had to order like 10,000 copies of this book to get your book published, and then you had
Yeah.
to sell it out of your car or, go from bookstore to bookstore to try to get them to buy some of your books.
Right.
And now it's a lot easier. We have a
Yeah.
few different publishing services, but the whole game is like constantly evolving. And here we are trying to jog and keep up with the latest trends and what is everybody else doing and how can you be different and how can you be better and unique and
Exactly.
what sets you apart. All right, my rant's over. Back to you. But I'm totally agreeing everything you're saying. All right. So if you could tell a new author one thing, what would it be?
Well, I always believe if you believe in yourself, that you can do anything. I always feel that way. I always feel like if you believe in yourself and you want to do it and you have a hunger for it, go ahead and do it. As long as it's not going to harm anyone, you're not harming anyone, you're not harming yourself, go ahead and do it. Why not give it a try? You only have one life, so you might as well live it to the best, of your ability. So if somebody wants to write a book and, they think they have a good idea and they got to get it out there, then just go ahead and write it, Go ahead and write it. You don't even have to do what I do because what I do is very painstaking because I edit while I write, which is nuts. I do. So, but I do that because I'll find something, and I'll reread it and I read and I go nuts. I go to like reread a line, then I go to the next line and I reread that. I'm like, oh my God, I'm never going to get through this. But it also saves me from doing all that horrible editing that I don't like doing. But, someone who's just starting out, just write the book, write what you love, especially because you have to feel it. You don't want to write anything that, like, if you don't think you can write a certain genre, like there are certain genres that I would love to be able to write, but I don't think I will ever be able to write, like mystery. You got to be pretty smart to write a mystery book. I'm sorry. I mean, it's like, who did it? Oh my God. I don't know. How many characters do I have? I have to keep track of all these characters. There's no way I can write mystery, but some people can. Some people can keep track of it. This person, is doing this. This person looks like this. This person.
Yes.
Yeah.
All the foreshadowing, all the little seeds, all the deceitful language, all the,
right.
Yes.
Right.
You got to mislead them just the right way.
Yeah, a good mystery book. Boy, I'm telling you, you got to be really good writer to write that. And that is something I will never be able to write. And that's okay. I don't write mystery. I write romance because I like romance. I like reading romance, and
And you excel at it. Yeah.
yeah, you just write what you like and what you know. And and you're going to do some research. So, cuz you want to make it realistic, but I just believe that, a new author, if they want to do it, they should just do it.
Mhm.
What's the harm? And so let's say you only sold one book. Well, that's one book you sold. I mean, that's in your favor. So
Yes.
this is
Yeah. I feel like none of us know everything we needed to know when we started out, but it is
right.
the kind of profession that you definitely do learn along the way. And the community has been so helpful. And there are always so many people willing to reach out and help you along the way if you have questions or you find your people,
Yeah.
find your community.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So you mentioned you work full time. How do you make time for writing?
It's really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I said, sometimes I just got to force myself to sit down. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like 2 weekends ago, I was thinking about this scene in my current book, and I kept thinking about it. I was in bed thinking about it and thinking about it. I'm like, I'm just gonna get up. Let me just go and sit in front of the computer. And so I did, and I was able to write. It was like two scenes that were in my head. So I wrote one scene quickly because that was going to be like the ending part. And then I decided to write this other scene. And actually, once I start writing, it is enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like exercising. You don't want to do
Getting
it.
your butt in the
You know?
seat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. It's like you got to psych yourself up. Like I don't want to get on the elliptical today. I'm not interested. I got to just throw myself on there and then start. And then after a while, it'll be okay. So same thing
Mhm.
with writing with me. Um, sometimes you just don't have the energy. You just got to find it. You just got to sit down and make yourself do it. But there are times where no, I am not going to write. I'm not in the mood, and I'm not going to force myself to do it because nothing good is going to come out if I
Yes,
write something and I'm not in
yes.
the mood. Yeah.
Some people say that they have to sit down, they have to force themselves through, and they still make it work. And then there's me or people like me who like if I don't have the brain energy, if I don't have the will, if I can't find the love for writing right now,
Yeah.
anything I try to force out is just a waste of time. I never end up keeping those words because I'm not happy with them. And I read them and I remember how much I didn't want to write them.
Yeah, I'm
So
like that
yeah.
too. But that scene was nagging me, and then when I sat down, I had a second scene, and so I said, okay, I just
Yes,
need to get down.
the
Yeah.
muse is singing. Yes. Sometimes I say that too. If like I can't write, the muse isn't singing.
Right.
And sometimes you can't wait for inspiration. Sometimes you have to put your butt in the seat and get yourself there. And once you're there, you can hear it again.
Yes.
So it takes different effort, but um, it's just a call you have to make as you go. Know
Yeah.
when to just put yourself to bed or do something else or give yourself a break and know when you need to crack down on yourself and be like, we are going to write tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it's different for everyone, I think. All right. Did I already ask you what your favorite part of writing is?
um, no, I don't think so. I think when I come up with like different scenes that I hadn't thought about and they just kind of come out of me. It's kind of crazy. I feel like somebody's writing through me sometimes. I know I sound nuts, but that's all
Oh,
right.
no,
I
you're
am.
channeling.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm a little
Channeling very
all
well.
writers are a little nuts. Yeah, so it's okay. But I'll be writing something and then suddenly it turns into something else and I'm like, "Oh my god, okay, I didn't see that at all, but it actually looks so much better." And I just think that's really cool when you can just start writing something totally different and your characters go a different way and they actually do talk to you. I mean, we're not schizophrenic, but they do, but they kind of talk to us because when we're
Oh,
writing, they just their dialogue just goes and it just kind of
mhm.
it just flows and it sounds great and it just fits. I
Oh,
love
yeah.
it. I love
That's
how it
how
comes
this
together.
series began. I had this character who would not shut up. He had so much to say. He had a backstory. He had motivations. He had goals. He had things he wanted. He had a past. Like, I was like, okay, yeah, this sounds like an actually good story. Let's see where this goes.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes they feel so real.
Yeah.
And luckily they choose us to tell their stories. Um, yeah, you're right. We're gonna sound nuts. But so many authors say that. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. I feel like I am writing their story. So I understand what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. What would you say has been your most significant writing victory so far?
Probably writing as many books as I have and
Oh
working
yeah.
a full-time job and just, it's I'm married. I have a dog. You have got a life outside of writing. It's really hard to juggle everything. So I mean, I think it's amazing that I even wrote one book, much less 30. It's
Yeah.
it's really cool.
Oh yeah. Writing that first book is such a peak mountaintop moment of I did it.
Yeah.
And then you see the next mountain and it's even bigger. And you're like, now you've got to sell the book?
I
Oh,
know, right? But every time like you get that paperback, because it never phases me. Anytime Amazon delivers my books, I'm just like, God, these are gorgeous. Oh my God, I can't believe I did this. It's amazing. It never gets
yes.
old.
It's
Yeah.
a real book. And like you hold it in your hands and you're like, I made this. I like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's wonderful. I think we call them like book babies. Like, I made this. Look
Yeah.
how beautiful it is.
I know.
Right, right. Have you ever been given writing advice that just does not work for you?
um, I mean, not really, but I mean, definitely plotting doesn't work. I did try it. It just didn't work.
Yeah. Doesn't resonate
I
at
think
all.
every person's different and you just do what is natural to you, what comes
Absolutely.
easily. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no one way and there's no right way or wrong way. Like the process that works for you is the correct process for you.
Right.
Absolutely. Well, do you have any of your books on hand? Maybe you could show us the covers and tell us a little bit about them.
I did bring one. I wasn't sure whether to
Yeah.
bring, but this is my latest.
Mm-hmm.
This is a Brigade Trucking Company, and he's a Florida Tiger shifter. So this is a trucking company that I'm working on right now, and he's the first book. So
Mm-hmm.
my second one that I'm writing on right now is Lycris, and he's going to be the second book. But yeah, so that's one of my shapeshifters.
Right. I haven't read too many were tiger books. How are they different from like normal lycanthropes?
My
Or
shapeshifters, they shift into one animal because shapeshifters usually they can shift into different ones. But I haven't done one of those yet. I thought about maybe doing one like that, but my shapeshifters usually they'll shift into whatever animal they are. Like if it's a
yeah.
wolf, shift
Mm-hmm.
into a wolf. The tiger. This one's a Florida tiger which is a mythological creature. Actually, you can
Mm-hmm.
Google it, and they were supposed to be. I mean, it's like you're not really sure. It's like the mythological, but you're not really sure because it said that they were in zoos at one point, and now they roam free. So and it's kind of crazy. But I thought, wow, there's an actual Florida tiger, so I'm going to do this, and he's just pretty beautiful, because he's got like a silver belly and he's got more like a silver coloring. He's got orange on the cover because they couldn't really find a Florida tiger picture, but the Florida tigers are really beautiful. So my shapeshifters, like I said, I put some realistic traits, like my porcupine, he actually has quills. He doesn't throw them because I found out that's a myth. They don't
No.
throw quills. Yeah, so you Google up the stuff and then it's whatever they shift into, that's how they shift. And then they live their life as that animal for the time period.
I love how you're weaving like local lore and geographic location into the story. It lends it sort of that real world like history and it makes it more believable, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that each person's personality might hinge a little bit on their animal.
Right. Right. Yeah. He actually lives in Orlando. So
Mhm.
he's based in Orlando. My second book, Lycris, is also, he's a friend. So he's based in Orlando, but the Brigade Trucking Company is in Jacksonville. So the third book will
That's
be in
realistic.
Jacksonville. Yeah, yeah. So I'm starting to write some Florida stories.
Mhm. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh,
where
that's
where can readers find you online?
You can find all of my books on my website. It's tklawyerauthor.com. And I am mostly on Facebook. I'm on Facebook, I'm Instagram, and I do some TikTok. I'm not really into TikTok so much, but I do have videos on there, reels. Most of the time, you can find me on my fan page on Facebook. It's also tklawyerauthor.com. And I'm always like posting there. I try to post funny things too. I also have a fan group. It's a small group because we try to keep it small because I really want my close knit fans. So they're the kittens, and they're the kick ass kittens. That's what they're called, and it's on Facebook. So when I go to shows, I usually wear the ears, and that's in honor of my kittens because they are my best fans.
I love it. How much fun is that to say that you have a group of your ultra fans, you know?
Oh, I know. I love it. Yeah. They are so amazing. They really are. They'll come out. I had one come to Georgia this year. She went to Romance Atlanta. I went there for the first time this year, and it was so awesome because they had canines, and we just went and petted all the canines together. It was really, really cool. It really touches my heart when they stalk me. I mean, I just love my stalkers. I do.
Yes. No, I think it means a lot when you have people who love your books that much. You
Yeah.
know, there's no greater compliment than just someone saying, I liked your story. I liked what you wrote. Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like the biggest reason why I write. For one, is just I want to give people stories that they'll enjoy. And it
Right.
seems like that's the same for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
It's really cool because like my first book that was published was Nightfall. It was the second book I wrote, but it's the first one that got published.
mhm.
And I mean, that was over 10 years ago, almost 11 years. December next month will be 11 years that that's been published. And you still hear people to this day raving about Nightfall. It's amazing to me. I mean, I'm in awe. Readers will come up to me. Maybe they never read another one of my books, but they remember Nightfall. They love Nightfall. And Nightfall has gone through so many manuscript changes because it had so many different publishers. So it's actually a better book now
Mhm.
because it's been edited and re-edited, and it's changed a little bit, but people still love Nightfall. And I love hearing that. Like the book is so old, but people still love it. And even my Guardian League series has been around just about as long. People love the angels. They just love that. I mean, if they love Angel Paranormal, they love the Guardian League series. It's such a compliment to hear that.
Mhm, mhm. That's the nice thing about books is once they exist, they exist. Like
Yeah.
unless you pull them down, like even then they still exist somewhere. But people can find them and they don't have an expiration date. You
Yeah.
know, sometimes people are like, oh man, I really want to buy your book, but I don't know when I'll have a chance to read it. And I go, you know what? It's fine. Buy the book, read it in 3 years.
Right.
It'll still be there. In
Hmm.
fact, it'll have some more sequels by then.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's not milk, it's not going to expire. When you get to it, you get to it. And I hope that
Right.
you enjoy it when you do.
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Okay. Well, thank you so much for being on this show. And
Oh,
thank you
thank
so much
you.
to yes. And thank you so much for those listening at home. Join us next week on Friday. And remember, there's always more than one way up a mountain. To be on our show, find us at social media at the Tell Not at The Tell Not Show, or email us at thetellnotshow@gmail.com. Bye.
All right. Bye. Thank you.
Thanks again for listening. If you enjoyed the show, consider subscribing and liking. We appreciate all the support. Julia J.K. Allen is an author, editor, and coach, and can be found at hijingsrudder.com.
Kirsha Fox is an author, avid reader, gamer, and mother to four, and you can find her at kirshafox.com. Thanks, and see you next time.